Today, I am grateful for the sense of community and just community that I have managed to build for myself over the past year, and also that I have had help building over the past year. And not just like personally or like family wise, but like professionally too, like dreams and aspiration wise. I've talked a lot about, working in the film industry and things like that, but I've not really talked a lot or nearly enough on here about why I wanted to start working in the film industry and why it was a goal. It isn't something that just kind of like happened upon me. It's something that I've wanted for a very long time. From the time that I was like in fourth grade, I had a teacher that just really contributed to my love for writing, and I've always wanted to be a published author. It's not something that was really achievable for me, or at least it didn't seem achievable. But whenever I was younger and I got into high school and I saw some of the books that I loved reading whenever I was growing up being made into movies and things like that, and just saw how terrible the movies went, I immediately was like, you know what? I want to go be in film. I want to work in film. I want to be a director, a producer, something like that. And I want to be the person to make my books into movies so that I know that they won't be bad, which is a really funny reason to want to work in film. And don't get me wrong, I love film, but my love for film was born from my love for writing. And working in film, I've worked for really big studios like Universal and Lionsgate, and I've also worked on really small independent movies, and I've even, produced my own TV show. I have my own small production company where I help creators produce their podcasts and documentaries and just smaller projects like that. And I also do a lot of marketing and all that good stuff. But throughout all of that, I've learned what it's like to have like a big studio financial backing and then to also be completely on your own. And the idea of tackling that not only in the film industry but then like in the publishing industry or like literary industry or whatever just seemed daunting. Like, it's not something that I felt like I could do, and I kept putting it off. I would like work through a book and then come up with the pitch letter, the query letter, all of that. And then I would just stop after trying to find an agent because it was just so daunting. It was hard to find. And also I just didn't feel like I had support when it came to developing my writing. But because of wonderful TikTok, I met some really amazing creators. I was just officially invited to this amazing organization that is actually a nonprofit, but they are called the Fiction Forg. And I post on there regularly. I post their things on my story, and I think I've posted about them a couple of times on here. But we just published our very first literary magazine together called Gilded Periodically, and we're actually doing a podcast for it. Gilded Periodically gave me the opportunity to be published, like have my writing published for the first time, like officially ever. The cool thing about Gilded Periodically is that it's not just made up of the writings of the people within it, but like even the cover was made by one of our members, like was completely designed. And then the books themselves, like the actual magazines, were literally printed and bound by the leader of the Fiction Forge. The amount of collaborative energy that was just put into this entire process, and that has went into every meeting, that has went into every single like writing, every word, every character, every art piece. Like, the sense of community and just collaboration has been amazing. As a writer and as someone who writing is the reason that I like even chose the career that I'm like knee deep in right now, having a community and having a group of people that were there with me the entire step of the way, like allowing me to have ideas, allowing me to bring things to the table, that were willing to collaborate with me, that were willing to read what I wrote and give me honest feedback, and that still help me. Like, we have weekly writing workshops where every single week, as long as you show up, we go and we write and the things that we want to write about, and we read it to each other, and we give each other very like positive but also like critical feedback that like is good for our like just good for the projects that we're working on all together. And the Fiction Forge also focuses on highlighting not just like North American folklore, but North American folklore that is told with the voice of people that typically don't get to share their stories or have their voice heard authentically and fully. It's really nice to have that community and that sense of purpose and that sense of backing whenever it comes to telling my story or having my poetry read by someone else, and hopefully one day having my poetry read by you and whoever sees this video, or anybody that's just interested in Gilded Periodically. If you want to hear more from me and the other creators of Gilded Periodically, go check out the Fiction Forge. There aren't only physical copies, but there are also digital copies, and we're currently working on the audiobook too. It'll be coming out in line and in schedule with the podcast. The podcast is completely free. You just get to go listen to the creators that are behind Gilded Periodically and that are part of the Fiction Forge or associated with the Fiction Forge through Gilded periodically, and get to hear us talk about our journeys and what it is that led us to even be part of the Fiction Forge and to contribute to Gilded periodically. And if you are a writer, artist, creator of any kind, and you're interested in having a community like what I have found through the Fiction Forge, go follow the Fiction Forge, because we will be opening up to new members coming soon. So definitely go check that out, give them a follow, and keep an eye out for that information that will be coming in the future.